Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you're all doing well, and welcome to the showdown between the Chaos Dwarfs and the Tomb Kings. It's going to be myself with Astragoth facing off against the Catholic Alcoholic, who is going to be rocking Kalita here on the edge of the Dark Wood. And it looks like there's going to be some heavy Tomb Kings firepower as well as net play, so nets with double great bows and some sepulchral stalkers definitely would be very punishing against the big Bale Taurus character, which is one of the reasons why I went a little bit wide with smaller characters, so we'll see if it works out. Front battle line is going to be Chowie Warriors. And you don't need much more than this against Tomb Kings. Tomb King infantry quality isn't super amazing. I mean, Tomb Guard and, Tomb Guard halberds can be okay, but generally Chaos Dwarf Warriors with their stat line and their armor can trade into any of the skeletons well. So that's going to be the front line. We have Astro Chad, and he's just going to be rocking Flamestorm as well as Ash Storm. Sometimes Ash Storm can come in very clutch for sniping characters who are trying to get away. It slows them down, makes them weak to fire, which is pretty good, right? Because if Astragoth is fighting someone and they're trying to get away from his 60 speed, which isn't impossible to do, you slow them down, you get a damage bonus on top of it. What's not to love? And of course, the Black Hammer of Hashut. So on top of those units, here on the far side, we do have Hobgoblin Wolfrider Bows, a very good skirmish unit. I mean, as far as like skirmish cav go, they're not like top tier or anything, but for their role in the Chaos Dwarf roster, pretty damn solid. We got 3 of those, going to roll up and immediately grab Objective 1. On big maps like Edge of the Darkwood, having those kind of mobile pieces I think is very, very essential. And this is a bit of an experiment, but I've had some limited success in a couple matchups in the past with these guys. We got 2 Bull Centaur Taruks. So these guys are anti-large, armor-piercing, decently armored, big HP pools at 6,000. So I'd like to use them to hunt down Khemrian War Sphinxes, Tomb King characters, Ushapti Great Bows. They can fight Sepulchral Stalkers if need be. I think they're a very, very cool unit. So for my opponent over here, it is going to be the Sepulchral Stalkers, getting extra sneaky snakes over here on the far side. And they're going to be rolling, trying to grab Objective 3, and they should probably not have any problems doing so. On top of that, it is going to be a mad legion of skeletons, so tons of them. And I think there's some Tomb Guard mixed in. Yeah, we got some Tomb Guard here. So the trash units are in the front with the Tomb Guard in the secondary, and Kalita with her hunting contingent in the trees. Now, is she going to be rocking any of her ranged buff spells? It does not look like it. Actually, just bringing the Venom Staff. So Kalita plus Lich Priest of Light with some sniping kit with Shem's Burning Gaze, double Ushapti Great Bow. Probably expecting the big, the big Bale Taurus, which is extremely meta. Although Astragoth, I think, is good in almost every matchup. He's a really solid fighter, a good caster, extremely durable. I am a big Astragoth enjoyer. I think he's quite a bit of fun. I wish he was in tabletop still, but Chaos Dwarves, of course, being a legacy army, don't get any cool named characters. Sad times indeed, but still very good actually. Chaos Dwarves are a very formidable faction in tabletop. I would say like a solid mid-tier faction. They can win tournaments for sure, but they don't have some of the really OP combos and like dragons that like Chaos and other factions have. All right, so call-in for my opponent here is going to be Melee Shopti. A really good choice. Melee Shopti are coming off a buff a couple patches ago, and they got +6 on top of what they had in their bonus versus infantry, so they're really, really good at killing the Chaos Dwarf infantry like the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. My best answers to them would either be shooting or maybe Bull Centaur renders with great weapons, which honestly Bull Centaurs probably still need a cost reduction. I feel like after that wave of nerfs they had in the beginning, they haven't quite fully recovered. I mean, they're still playable and can do okay, but I do feel like they're a little bit overpriced. So a little bit of gamesmanship here. We're poking and just kind of teasing, trying to force the Ushapti Great Bows back, and they do fall back behind the spears. I knew we had a net, so I was like just kind of running them separately so they don't both get netted. Astragoth was also nearby as well. And we're going Spec Ops here, so some Secret Agent Chorfs here in the trees. We have the Infernal Guard, which I'm a big enjoyer of. Ever since their cost reduction, I think Infernal Guard are a pretty solid unit. At 950, they're really, really stalwart with 56 melee defense, 100 armor, crazy good leadership. So I'm playing the long game. I'm going to move them down there and then assist them with Goblins to Ninja Objective 3 while I also contest the middle here. So do we get the double cap here against the Catholic? But now his Legion is going to be moving up as the firepower does start to saturate in from the Ushapti Great Bow, shooting into the Bull Centaur Taurok right here. And Taurok is at 5,000 and is going to be fleeing behind the trees, or the pillar, I should say. Astro Chad also going to be getting netted here. So Astro Chad does get netted. Kalita is going to be coming in for a fight. Now in a straight up fight, Astragoth would probably win. I would say the fire damage he does and Kalita's vulnerable to fire would be a pretty big deal. And the Dwarf Warriors have engaged, and here comes the Taruks. Don't want to let my little man get bullied. Black Hammer of Hashut activated. Kalita has some nearby allies, so I figured Astragoth could use them as well. The Dwarf Warriors have started to kind of grind through the skeletons, but the Melee Shopti have piled in as well. I do attempt to flank here, but his micro is very good. And he does retreat past the skeleton, so he's going to be baiting me into some spears. And my micro was caught elsewhere, but don't worry, I get them back pretty quickly. Flamestorm going down from Astragoth. Big damage there. It's a great spell. It's no Burning Head, but he doesn't have that, so you got to take what you can. But he manages to cook a bunch of these Tomb Guard here, takes them down to 86 models, a huge amount of HP lost. And now our little character squad is going to be moving into the secondary, going after Sepulchral Stalkers. Meanwhile, Khalida is kind of getting bullied by this Bull Centaur Tarek, who's getting friendly fired by the Hobgoblins. Of course, Hobgoblins trying to, shank their overlords whenever they can. But the Bull Centaur Tarek able to get some good damage against Khalida. But Khalida is going to get reinforced by the very strong Necrotect. And now Necrotects, you look at it, you're like, wow, this guy's stats suck. How is he going to fight a Bull Tarek? Well, it's because of this item, the Van Braces of the Sun. So he lowers the stats of whatever he's hitting by a massive amount. Makes him a pretty good combat character. You can see 24 and 18 is now the stat line for that Tarek. So pretty nasty. But Astrachad doing well here, grinding down the Sepulchral Stalkers and the Tomb Guard as far as the frontline fighting goes. My Chorf Warriors are starting to lose momentum to the Ushabti. These Chorf Warriors, of course, win their fight, but in the middle we get folded. And on this side, the melee Shabti are also really doing a massive number against the Chaos Dwarf Warriors. Shem's Burning Gaze coming down. A nice one right there. Really good snipe from my opponent. Able to nail that Bull Centaur Tarek. He starts to break. And the remnants of the Sepulchral Stalkers in guard mode do get the pick there. So that is going to be one Tarek in the old can, but Khalida is very, very close to dying. So overall felt like it was worthy. And here comes the Ash Storm. So Khalida is down to 50 speed, which means the flying attack. Dude, Astragoth has some awesome attack animations. But he does manage to bonk Khalida pretty good. Currently, she is very, very weak to fire. Kindle Flame plus the Ash Storm. So Astragoth's attacks are doing brutal damage. And that was a big win for us because I felt like I was starting to lose ground a little bit on the objective. My opponent took it, so I needed a win like this. So Khalida does get lowered down to 700 HP, is going to be attempting to run, and we're going to be trying to chase. But she's a slippery snake for sure. Probably going to be able to sneak away from me here. She does regain her speed, now at 59 speed against 58. I do have the Stone Mantle active, so as Astragoth does take damage, he becomes tankier, but he does also get slower too. So unfortunately, I'm not quite able to catch Khalida. 700 HP, and she's cackling all the way to the bank. Now on the other side, we do get the Infernal Guard and the Hobgoblin Sneaky Gits. Sneaky Gits have god-awful leadership, but they're pretty good at killing chaff units. They're like a bully unit. They can bully things below them, but trading up is certainly not something they do well because of their leadership here. But they do manage to get the skeletons pretty low, and the Infernal Guard going to be moving in to help as well. So this is a big theft for us on the back point. Certainly that long-term investment there has paid off. It's our Chaos Dwarf 401k here. But now Hobgoblin Cutthroat's coming up to reinforce and try and recapture some momentum here on the middle point, potentially getting a triple cap situation. Astrachad chasing down Khalida, but she's able to get away. My opponent, Great Micro here, does use his Nehekara Horseman to surround Astragoth and starts to nibble on him. And I did use a Flamestorm, I believe. I cast it. I don't know what I was targeting there. Maybe it was a misclick, but I think I cast it here and it just like rotated the wrong direction or something. It was some weirdness. But I figured, hey, if I don't get, I need to get Khalida because I'm falling behind in value pretty heavily. My opponent has Realm of Souls. And even though I am up on points and I do have the objectives, I could still lose this game very easily. I need to get this to hurt the leadership of the Tomb Kings to make the fights just better for me. So I start to chase with the Hobgoblin Wolf Riders just out of pure desperation. They do fire damage, which means they're going to be getting a 22% damage buff, if I'm not mistaken. Or, oh, it's only 15 on her. Okay. Usually it's a little bit higher, I could have sworn. But 15% damage buff against her, and despite the armor, we are able to chip some HP away. On the far side, Objective 3 is looking good. Our elite units have gotten that point, and I do use a Flamestorm back here. I try and catch Khalida, but she is able to dodge it there. So I should have just clicked on her, but alas, I did misclick, and Khalida is able to get away. Not that it would have maybe gotten me the kill right there, but certainly would have helped. Now back in the middle, I do call in Kadai Fireborn. I had them coming in a while ago, as well as a Magma Cannon. Magma Cannons are good against Tomb Kings, but Great Bows and Bone Giants hard counter them, so you have to be really careful with going with them against Tomb Kings on certain maps. On this map, since it's so big, even if they had like a Bone Giant right here, this thing would still be able to generate value for me at a safe distance. So on a map like this, or Road to Talabheim or something, you're going to be okay. So Kadai Fireboard, 200 value there, and they are going to be chewing through a fair amount of units. They're normally okay against Tomb Kings because they beat Ushabti and they can kill most of the infantry, but just the sheer swarming of my opponent's army and the dominant position he has on Objective 2, probably going to be giving him that. And on the back point, pulling back my Chaos Dwarf Warriors, I can see the writing on the wall here, falling behind even more in value, hunting down Khalida in the woods, 68 freaking HP, and we're not able to get her. Such an unholy nightmare, but yeah, she's trying to chase down the Hobgoblins, which are broken. Another one rallied for a moment, but then got broken. I was like, oh my god. If Khalida were to live with 68 HP just hiding in the bushes, that would be the most depressing thing, because that's such a leadership buff for Tomb Kings, right? But we do get some shots. The brave Hobo Goblins, they get in there and they take her down. So they finished Astragoth's lifelong work. Meanwhile, Astrachad is very boxed up himself. He's battling against some of these Nehekara horsemen, as well as the Necrotect right there. And Objective 3, currently we're sitting on it with our elite troops, so I know that he's going to start coming for it. The riding is, as I said again, I'm just using the same phrase, it's getting old, it is what it is. But the Nehekara warriors are moving over, so this was a big red flag for me, that he was, okay, I know he's going for Objective 3 now, he's going to be coming in force, so it's time for me to start Helm's Deeping, because I know these guys will hold for a while, but as soon as he calls in like a melee Shabti, some heavy AP and, moves his army over there, which it looks like he's going to be doing, I'm going to lose that position. And I know we're approaching triple cap, so I'm banking on it. We do call it a Bull Centaur render, but unfortunately he has very, very good map awareness, sees them immediately, calls in his great bows and starts to pound them. So the game plan for myself is to run them into the tree line here. So we're going to park them right here and just save them for the Helm's Deep. So at least I'll be healthy. Right now, having him in the open field, not really any point for doing that. Astragoth does use a Flamestorm, is able to roast some of the Nehekara Horsemen, and also is doing battle with the Necrotect. He's been doing pretty well for me this game. He's up to about 2k value, so he's about paid for himself. He's a very, very solid stalwart little Dowie there. Calling in some more Hobo Goblins just to maintain capture weight. And now the Infernal Guard are going to be forming ranks. Oh, they're so freaking cool looking. Not as cool as the Ironsworn, but, they try their best. And they are going to bash these Skeleton Boys, which is a matchup. I actually played this matchup in the tournament not too long ago. But now Nehekara Warriors are going to get dominated pretty hard. The Infernal Guard barely taking any damage. Their high melee defense in tandem with their super high armor basically counters these units. There's an anti-infantry bonus, and they will probably get maybe 15-20% HP off the Infernal Guard, but this Infernal Guard could take like 2 or 3 of these probably, if not more. A couple Gobos going to get in, but now the punishment is on the way. The melee Shopti have been performing very, very well. And, ooh, wow, look at that. That Shem's Burning Gaze down the pipe. Okay, I was wondering what happened in the game. I remember in the match looking and being like, how did he hurt me so quickly? That was healthy. A couple Hobgoblins going to swarm in here, just trying to maintain cap, and they're going to be charging into the back of the Ushapti. Ashstorm being used here, but Astragoth is going to be falling, most likely being hunted by Necropolis Knights. So a heavy-duty call in now, and Necropolis Knights are the not anti-large variant, actually going for the standard variant, which would be better against Astro Chad. And my opponent, of course, with good game sense, is going to be swarming my back objective as well. He knows he's going to probably need a triple cap here. I most likely will reach 1250 before he's going to be in a position where he reaches 1,000, which means that, it is going to be a triple cap situation. As far as the Infernal Ironsworn goes, or the Infernal Guard, excuse me, their leadership is just barely holding on after that nasty Shem's Burning Gaze. A couple Chaos Dwarf Warriors do arrive. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders are doing all right. They're able to crumble down a couple of Ushapti. When they do get rear charges, they get a damage bonus from Cowardly Despoilers of 25%, so getting a rear charge on those units is quite good. On top of that, we do get the Sneaky Gits moving in, the remnants of them, and I do have capture weight, but not for long. I suspect that the Necropolis Knights can come over here and probably wrestle this. So I'm just going to fight for as long as I can with these Hobgoblins, and as soon as I start losing ground, I would then retreat them to the other side of the map. As far as this party goes, there's going to be some pressure on the back point. The Ushapti Great Bows moving in. One of them actually just got attacked by the Magma Cannon. And the Magma Cannon's been doing great work. It's just been sitting back here and bombarding, whatever it can, wearing down the Ushapti Great Bows. And now we have a big blob of undead coming. And I'm not super reinforced back here. I do have the Goblin Laborers, Chaos Dwarf Warriors, and the Bull Centaurs waiting in the bushes. Magma Cannon ripping some nice shots, wearing down these decent quality cavalry units. Well, on the back point, I do finally start to lose momentum. So the Necropolis Knights get here, and now it's all hands on deck. The Necropolis Knights have cleared these guys off, and it's a very clear-cut case of what needs to be done for my opponent. So he's going to be swarming everything. Basically, if you were playing Age of Empires or any other RTS, you'd use the Control All Army hotkey and move them all towards Objective 1. I do have a little bit of a sneaky presence in the middle, though, and the Cowardly Despoiler tactics. I do manage to get the Hobgoblins disengaged from this objective when I started to lose it, and now they're going to be stealing this. So this is pretty good. We do get the cap weight here. There are going to be some Necropolis Knights as well as Lich Priests coming in, but they are very slow. Necropolis Knights only have 66 speed, so not the speediest of units, and that is going to be the objective flipping for us, which is going to make it very, very hard. But we need everything we can get. This game is actually very close. I am massively behind in value, which is, in my experience, in domination mode, how this matchup usually goes. Tomb Kings will beat you on value, and then you can try and stuff them on objectives. It's been my recipe for success. So I know I'm not going to hold this for very long. Shem's Burning Gaze there, a bit of a whiff, and then I just pull the Hobgoblins away. I'm like, okay, let's just get out of here. He can start to capture this objective if he wants to sit on it, and we're going to Helm's Deep, because now we know for sure it's a triple cap situation. So we're going to be reinforcing over here, calling in some more infantry. So we do have Chaos Dwarf Warriors and Hobgoblins on their way over. But it's getting a little dodgy. He's got his big legion coming, Ushapti, as well as Sepulchral Stalkers in the bushes there, living in their natural habitat. Bull Centaur Renders going to come in with their big beat sticks. So here they come. They're going to be taking some of these guys to the club, that is for sure. Got some fun little attack animations, these big scary dwarfs. Magma Cannon, classic, nuking my Chaos Dwarf Warriors, but also doing probably more damage to the Nehekara Warriors and leading them to rapid disintegrating and crumbling. So at the end of the day, not the worst trade in the world for me. Hobgoblins have arrived back, and I use them to intercept reinforcements, so these are the ones that were in the middle. I end up charging into the Ushapti here, but am countercharged by the Necropolis Knights, and there is going to be another melee Ushapti being called in. So you guys are seeing how damn good these guys are in this matchup, because your answers against them for Chaos Dwarves are very vulnerable to the other elements in the Tomb Kings roster, like the spears and the bows and the shooting. So here comes the melee Ushapti. Magma Cannon still ripping shots where it can. Back objective. These dwarves didn't hear any bell, as we do have the Infernal Guard and the Chaos Dwarf Warriors still fighting, and honestly, they might be able to hold for a little bit longer. No, they're finally going to break. Sad face. So they tried their best. But considering how beat up his back objective is, there's an opportunity that maybe I could do a mass hobgoblin push on that. So 1,400 points. I got a legion of units coming in, so they're still a ways off, though. You can see the sneaky gets are all coming across. Magma Cannon is still shooting where it can. And suddenly I was like, oh god, am I going to lose this game? He gets here with the Sepulchral Stalkers, and the Ushapti are faster than you think. They have 54 speed, so they get there really quickly. My Bolt Centaur Renders are getting wrecked by the Sepulchral Stalkers. Magma Cannon doing a little bit of damage. Hobgoblins do get up on the point, but remember, Astragoth is dead. He actually died up there. So my Hobgoblin leadership is atrocious at the moment. Absolutely atrocious. So they arrive to the point. Really, really good play from Catholic here. He does net down my Chaos Dwarf Warriors, so those guys got to get locked. And the other sneaky gets are going to be cruising up now. Magma Cannon with a direct hit on the Necrotech, trying to finish him off, maybe snipe him if I can to get rid of that nasty debuff. He's applying to all my units. One more Goblin does arrive. Capture weight still favoring the Tomb Kings. I'm so close to winning in a really, really stressful situation. And yeah, this could potentially be it for us. We will have to see. I do have some cowardly tricks in the back pocket, and it is going to be the Wolf Riders. So the Wolf Riders are going to start screaming across the map, looking for some desperation opportunities, knowing that this back point is basically lost. He does have several units here, which are pretty healthy, including a full health Sepulchral Stalker. But his army is very, very slow, so that is going to be a Shem's Burning Gaze. It does fan out, does some okay damage, picks off a couple of those. And now comes the sneaky get plays. The Hobgoblins are going to be heading towards Objective 3. I am going to feign interest in Objective 2 to try and force him to move everything there. And then I'm going to make a mad dash for Objective 3 with everybody else. I'm at 1469. That's what she said. Really, really good number there. So I'm like, let's hold on to that. It's, you know, try and keep that blessed score for as long as we can. Chaos Dwarves here are going to be losing this fight. Hobgoblins probably going to be annihilated by the Ushapti as well as the Skeletons. So we do pull back from these Nehekar Warriors here. And unfortunately, these Hobgoblins just broke randomly. I was like, oh my god, they were like full health and barely got touched. But that's what happens when you're a Goblin, and there's a lot of penalties on you here. So they are frightened indeed. So at this point, we're going to be making a dash for the far side objective. And honestly, it's not looking terrible. He only has Nehekar Horsemen. I have a lot of Hobgoblins in reserve, the Wolf Rider, so there's going to be another one here. These ones rally. These ones are going to be keeping this Horseman honest, shooting him in the back and softening him up for a little bit later. And yeah, Magma Cannon also gets a decent little shot there, does lower the leadership. Not quite crumbling, but we will take what we can. So the objective starts to flip. It's getting there. Magma Cannon shooting at reinforcements wherever it can. He does have an Nehekar Horseman here. This one's very beat up, though. And I don't think he has any more mobility in the pool. Tomb Guard is called out, which obviously if he had them, Skeleton Horseman would be getting called out right now. But he doesn't have them. So this is big. I got 4 of these little gobbos, and I'm hoping I can get us around. So I charge this way to lure these guys and expose their back to the other unit, which, again, gives me a bonus. So then the Cowardly Despoilers is in place here, and not on these ones, but we do get the Cowardly Despoiler flank, giving them good weapon strength, and we get a full surround. That's a lot of capture weight for me. That's going to be 12 capture weight, and look at how much damage these gobbos do. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders are no joke. When they can rear charge you, man, they do a lot of damage. And we do start to melt this unit. Skeletons are on their way over, calling in more Hobgoblin Wolf Rider archers as the Dwarfs continue fighting on the back objective here. A couple of them trying to make some ground, but overall, he just got too many constructs back here, not going to be able to get her done. But I think we're going to get this. We do get the back point. And ladies and gentlemen, that is going to be GG well played as an unholy legion of Hobgoblins is able to seal the back objective. The Cowardly Despoilers living up to their name. That was a really good match. Really, really fun. His build was cool. The Khalida kind of sniping build, but thankfully I didn't have great targets to snipe. The Tariks, I wonder if the Tariks were better than going for like cheap build, cheap Tauruses. Like the Great Taurus that costs 1,100 is a similar price point, but these guys are a little bit lower to the ground and I think harder to snipe. I don't know. Astro Chad did good. As far as other value pieces, we did see the Magma Cannon do well. Normally I'm very apprehensive to bring Magma Cannons here because of Bone Giants, but yeah, he brought an off-meta build, and so did I to an extent as well. But yeah, GG, really, really, it was just the objective play of the Magma Cannon, Astragoth, and yeah, the Dwarf Warriors, they were able to, you know, grind some decent ground. Hobgoblin Wolf Riders, 1,000, 400, and 600 on that one, and I would imagine these little gremlins, some of them did good too. For Khalida, 1,400, about paid for herself, honestly. That's more or less what she cost. Ushapti, just always a solid staple of that roster, and the melee Shapti were able to pound me pretty good. Yeah, GG, well played. That is it for today, and we will be back another time. Hash it bless.